everybody. We are back doing questions and answers with Pastor Ben to celebrate the re-release of Single, Dating, Engaged, Married.
Yes.
So when we were last together, we covered all sorts of things from breakups to how do you know, it was a wide range of topics.
Singleness, dating, engagement.
That's true.
Not so much marriage. Yeah. That's coming later.
That's true. Maybe we'll get some of those today. But I'm excited to jump in.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick us off. Our first question up today.
Okay.
How do you discern whether you are experiencing a lack of peace from God about getting married versus a fear of commitment that requires faith and courage?
Yeah, that's a great question. And people, I feel like I get that question a lot of times because our emotional lives are not static. They ebb and flow throughout the day. But when you're making a huge decision of like, am I going to marry somebody? You go, what do I do with some of the anxiety I feel? Is this normal life anxiety, or is this a flashing light on the dashboard telling me there's something wrong here and I need to pull over? So I would say to start, I would affirm, and I would say the scriptures affirm a place and a value for feelings. So you're saying, what do I do with these feelings? I don't want to dismiss them personally. Mm-hmm. Read the Psalms. Mm-hmm. And I love the permission the Psalms give us, that the psalmist is saying, I am scared. I am anxious. I am angry. I am lonely. I am dismayed. That we get this permission to not suppress our emotions or downgrade them or be ashamed of them, give them full vent. But if you look consistently throughout the Psalms, he doesn't end there. He starts there. He starts with, this is the emotional chaos I'm experiencing. Let me get honest about that. Now let me get perspective. Then let me get moving. Mm-hmm. And I would encourage you to do that and give yourself the space to do that. You know, Proverbs 20, verse 5 says, the purposes in a man's heart are like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. There are some drivers and motivations deep in your heart and in other people's. You can get them out, but they're in the depth. They take some time. That's the point of that. To get to what's really going on down here, give yourself the time, you know? I would also say, to switch up the analysis or the imagery, feelings should always be in the car, but they shouldn't drive, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you never want to dismiss them, say they don't matter, but it's usually dangerous to let them steer. You know, you think about David was rightly mad at Nabal, but when he got possessed by his emotions, he was going to murder him. You're like, bad choice, you know, valid concern. Bad choice. Yeah. So you want to go, okay, let me acknowledge these feelings, but let me be careful with what I do with them. That's what matters. And so if you're saying, hey, I'm dating somebody and I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling uncertain, I'm feeling scared, that's valid. That's a blinking light on the dashboard. Now you got to figure out the source of that problem. Okay, I'm experiencing this. Let me not pretend I don't. Let me not beat myself up. That's the wrong fight. Let me not just cover up the light on the dash and pretend like nothing wrong. No, acknowledge it. I'm having these concerns. And then once you acknowledge it, you're trying to find out. I almost think of it like the wires of our lives are all crossed. And if one of them sparks, they're all going to go off. And you kind of got to figure out which one's which. Or like when I injured my back, there were disc issues and skeletal issues and nerve issues and and muscle issues. You're like, which one went nuts? What did I do? And then how do you fix it? Yeah. So if you're feeling nervous, I would say, spend a few minutes, pull a journal out, write out your feelings, externalize them so you can see them, and then also process them with healthy counsel. But think in terms of 3 circles. Is it him? Is it y'all? Is it you? So you're trying to figure out where these feelings are coming from. You go, okay, is it him? Is it a concern about cause? I want to chase Jesus with my life, but all of his decisions seem to indicate he just wants money. Oof. So if we get in a 3-legged race, we tie our legs together till death do us part. We're going to be running different directions. I don't know if we want that life. He says he wants Jesus, but I got to drag him to church. I don't think we want him the same way. Those feelings are valid. They're pointing to a problem with him.
Right.
Does he lie? He tells little white lies to people to change their view of him. So he saves face. He denies them the truth. I have mixed feelings about that. You should. That's a character issue. You know, so you're saying like, what's sparking these emotional concerns? Are they character issues you see in him? Are they trend lines of cause? Hope, biblically, is confidence in a good future based on evidence from the past.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'll rise from the dead because I saw Jesus do it in the past, right?
Yeah.
In dating, hope, the future of marriage will be good together, is based on evidence from the past. If you just say, well, I hope he'll be a good husband, but you have no evidence, that's a wish. You want to say, I have confidence he'll be a good husband because I've seen the way he treats other humans at their best and their worst, right? So if you've got evidence that warrants your concern about him, those emotions are valid, and they're probably of the nature that you need to go, well, don't go speeding towards marriage if you're concerned about his cause, where his life's headed, and his character, what he's based on.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a y'all issue. Or maybe you go, hey, he loves the Lord, I love the Lord, but every time we go on a date, I'm checking my watch like, when can I get out of this car? You go, that's concerning, because if you can't hang out for 2 hours, you probably don't want to hang out for 30 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you can't bench 150, don't stack 250 on the bar. You're like, you don't have to do this. You know what I mean? Like, so there could be that. If you just go, I think it's us. Or say, you know what? He loves God, I love God, but we can just never understand each other. There's always going to be misunderstanding, but we just can't seem to get out of it. We can't seem to disentangle, and we're spending a lot of time. You've just got to look and say, is it just, you're not bad, I'm not bad, but there's something about this fit we just can't seem to get straightened out.
Yeah.
When Dawn and I were dating, we ran into all kinds of conflict, disagreement, but we saw within ourselves a desire to work through it and the ability to work through it. But if you're like, hey, we've been trying for months and we just can't, y'all just may not be a fit.
Yeah.
Or it could be you. It could be, this was a huge disappointment about myself. I don't know if you can hear the engines. We are in the city, metro living. But I realized for me, it didn't present as, I think I have some insecurities stemming from my parents' divorce. It started as like, hey, wait, Donna, where were you? Who was there? Who's this guy? Who's that guy you were talking to? Like, I started to get like, the more I realized I was caring about her, the more weirdly paranoid I got about other guys. But I'd never felt that way before. Like in other dating relationships, I wasn't like a jealous type.
Yeah.
But I suddenly got real like suspect. But in my mind, I'm like, it's because she's acting suspect. But then I had to get some friends to help me see, you're like, she's engaging in normal human activities. Your emotional response is way off. Like you are not calibrated right. Your emotional fear is not commensurate with her choices.
Mm-hmm.
That's something in you.
Yeah.
And I had to realize I'm scared because I'm starting to really care about her. I'm scared she'll hurt me. But she's not given me any evidence to say she will. That's just in me.
Yeah.
That's a wound. It's a wound from my parents. And I need to weep over that. And I need to share that with her. And we need to find a healthy way to move forward as two wounded but godly people together.
Yeah.
So that's a long way to say it, but I just think that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Your feelings are valid. The human experience goes up and down, but you got to stop for a minute and go, let me pay attention. Is it him? Is it you?
Yeah.
Is it y'all? And then I would say this to end, and I want to hear y'all's thoughts. At the end of the day, this won't sound romantic, but you got to play the percentages. Because the human emotional experience is just volatile. And so if you're dating someone and trying to figure out, do I want to be married to you? You're not going to feel romantic and longing for them 100 out of 100. So you just got to watch yourself and go like, does 8 thoughts out of 10, I want to be with you forever? And twice a day I go, I don't know. Well, that's 80% is pretty good. You got to think about that.
You're right. That does not sound
But
romantic
if,
at
but
all.
if you're 50-50, you're like, I could kind of take them or leave them. Hey, don't stack on till death do us part.
Right.
Right?
So you're saying you need at least a B average.
At
to get
least.
married.
Well, I'm just saying that is the emotional
Yeah. I
experience
get
of a
what you're saying.
human.
That's a good point.
You're gonna, at any point in your life, go like, I don't know, man. You do that with where you live. I love this
Yeah.
apartment. Every now and again, you're like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
But then it goes away. You're like, no, that's just, I was just
Yeah.
bored or I was just whatever. And you can't, no human can maintain 100% consistent feeling.
Yeah.
But if you go 9 thoughts out of 10, I want to be with her, and 1 out of 10 thoughts, I'm like, I don't know, then that's usually just the crazy part of me, and I just kill that part. And then when I make a covenant and commitment to marriage, then I'm just committed to making this work and be the healthiest relationship possible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But before you make that commitment, you pay attention to your emotions. But if you're looking for 100% accuracy, that's not a human experience.
Yeah. I remember being on staff at a church, and I was curious about this. And so I started going around asking people, on your proposal day, I'm asking guys, how certain 1 to 100 were you that this is the certain thing? And I was so surprised that not everyone's answer was 100. I was like, oh, really?
In front of their wife, probably.
Yeah, they would
She's
no,
right
that actually
there.
happened.
Yes.
She would be right there, and he'd be like 94. And I'm like, are you serious? Are you sure? You know, but that was helpful for me because maybe I had this unrealistic expectation that I always had to be 100 or feel 100 or they had to feel 100 about me. But there was grace and confidence knowing in that.
He knows we are but men. He knows we are frail things, you know?
Well, maybe just to throw a different follow-up question into this. What if you're not the one trying to discern this lack of peace versus anxiety around commitment? What if you're the one dating that person and you feel pretty certain, at least an 80, a B to your point? How long would you recommend staying with someone in a dating relationship if the other person is not out, but is not in or ready to move to the next phase of your relationship?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's related to what I was saying about evaluation, because, you know, if someone comes to you and in date 2, they say, I want to get married, and you go, I'm not ready. They go, why are you so afraid? You just go like, no, that's not in the me circle.
Right.
I lack data about you to see if we're worthy of trust. But now we have a path. Okay, hope is confidence in a good future based on evidence. That's what hope is. So Peter said, always be prepared to give a reason for the hope that you have. Hope is built on reasons. So when someone's like, I'm not sure how I feel, then you go, okay, well, let's continue to gather evidence. Let's keep dating. Let's keep spending time together. Be around me. Watch how I treat children and the old and how I handle things not going right during the day. Watch me over time and go, you know what? You are a great person I don't know what I was afraid of, you know? So if it's a lack of evidence, then you keep dating.
Yeah.
But if they're like, no, I know everything from you, but I'm a mess and my family and this, then in a dating relationship, you can't fix some of their stuff, you know? You can't be like, well, as your girlfriend, I will heal you. You're like, no, you can't. Like, there'll be things he may have to go deal with. Yeah. And you just may go, you know what? We can't keep working the we out because you got to work on you a bit. And so we got to put this down. That may be a situation, you know?
Yeah.
But if they're like, they don't need more data, they're just slow to commit because they don't feel like they have to, which is so much of the modern world. We can just sort of hang out in this ambiguous, we're dating space. At some point, maybe always defaults to no. You know, I think of this like when I was in high school, we'd have like homecoming. If I asked a girl, will you go to homecoming with me? She says, yes, we're going. She says, no, we're not. If she says, maybe doesn't default to yes. It doesn't default to me showing up at your house and going, you ready? Like if you never told me yes, at some point the date goes by and we missed it.
Yeah.
But as the initiator in a relationship or the one who is in, you have to decide if they're a maybe and I can't think of other evidence to give them, maybe defaults to no. So we're just at no. And I always try to ask myself, it's kind of like, I think of chess, you know, like the online computer chess, when you're like, I'm stuck, I can't move. And you can press a little button, it'll show you like, you actually have 6 moves.
Online computer chess?
No, but I've seen it before. You know, it shows you have moves to make.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you click a button and there's no moves. I think of that with what you were saying. Hey, he's stuck in a moment. Are there any moves we can make? Can I give him some more detail? Are there questions that are unanswered? And if you go, no, there's no more moves to make, then you go, then the game's over. I can't provide you anymore.
Yeah.
But saying, let me just hope one day he'll change his mind. That's not hope. That's a wish.
Yeah, that's hard though. When
It's
you've
very
invested
hard.
a lot of time and emotion, and that's hard.
Yeah, and you want to chase bad money. You want to keep investing, hoping, but it's not. Hope is built on evidence. If you see he's just stuck, and no amount of additional data is helping him move, then at some point you have to know this is a sufficient amount of data for me to know this is over. But it's a horrible place to be.
Yeah,
it's tough.
All right, next we got a voicemail coming in.
Hey, Ben. So I'm single, and my compass when looking for my future husband has been, first of all, does he know the Lord? And second of all, do we have chemistry, which is what you outlined in the book. And my focus right now is to keep my eyes locked on Jesus. The issue is when I meet a man that loves the Lord and I feel like we have chemistry, my eyes are not staying directed on Jesus. My mind immediately goes to, this is my future husband. And I guess my issue is, how do I keep my thoughts from spiraling immediately when I meet a guy that checks those two boxes, knowing the Lord and having chemistry, instead of keeping my eyes focused on the Lord and letting him naturally bring this man into my life? Any insight that you could give would be appreciated.
Yeah. It's a great question. I mean, I would say, one, I would commend the awareness. I encourage everyone to be a student of yourself. And so I commend the awareness of going, I want to pursue the Lord, but when I see a guy I could see a future with, my emotions start to, spiral. It's good to be aware of that. Not beat yourself up, just be a student of yourself and go, this happens. Because now you've empowered yourself to make a choice. I almost think of it like this analogy might break down, but like a solar system. You're like, I'm going to orbit around the sun. That's what I'm doing. I'm orbiting around the sun. If a planet is orbiting around the sun, if another planet gets close by, like that has a gravitational energy. It has a gravitational pull. It's going to, just by the nature of being a body of a sufficient size, it'll threaten to throw your orbit off. So you're not crazy. If you long to be married and you find a guy that is chasing after the Lord and has a godly character, it's not wrong to be interested in that and to feel that pull. So that pull's not something you should feel ashamed of. But you just have to know, like, oh, okay, but if I start orbiting around him rather than Jesus, now that's not going to be healthy ultimately. Got to orbit around the sun or else you'll go freeze off into the dark, right? So, but you're going to have to be more conscious. Okay, let me be aware that this is happening and make some adjustments. Some advice I would give: obsessive thinking normally comes in isolation. When do we do our most obsessive thinking? It's when we're by ourselves, right? Alone with our thoughts. And so I would say bring trusted voices into your process early and often. And it could be your friends, but your friends may not always be the best voices. I would also add to that wise counsel, people that are counterweights and balances to your emotional experience that you're having with this person. That's why in Song of Solomon, the book of romance in the Old Testament, the voices that speak in this love poem of this couple finding romance are the man, the woman, and the woman's friends, right? And the way the book presents, she's infatuated with him. I mean, it starts at the beginning. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. Like, she is so amped about this guy. And I want his mouth on my mouth. Like, she's so excited. But then her friends say, rightly do the maidens love you. She's infatuated with him. Her friends aren't. But they're watching him saying, is this the right person for you to set your affections on? And you need those people in your life that can help you not go spinning off into space because a cute guy has entered your orbit,
Yeah.
So, and this will sound, I'll end this and y'all tell me what you think, but I would just say acknowledging those feelings, surrendering them to the Lord, telling them that's what you have. I just love that we have texts of the Bible where he says that, cast your cares upon me, your anxieties upon me, that he's saying, like, give me your emotional state as well. So just saying like, okay, Lord, I'm experiencing this about a human being you've made. I'm giving these to you. It's not wrong to feel that way. Song of Solomon rejoices in them, but you bring around a community that keeps me from going bananas. So let me introduce those people in so I don't enter an obsessive spiral.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about will take work.
Yeah.
you are committed to emotional energy being expended. That's why dating shouldn't last forever.
Right.
It's work.
Yeah.
Damn. It's funny too. When I think about this, sometimes I have to remind myself, when the Lord is telling me to cast my cares upon him, when there's prevailing wisdom, to set my gaze on him, and to her point, not drift and spiral. I think there is a wrong way of looking at the perspective of God, of like, if you're getting too excited or something else, like you have to shove it down.
Yeah.
Where it's really, I think there's so much wisdom in that you could so easily sabotage the chemistry you have with someone by onboarding all of this pressure and hope of what it could be. That I think there's even just wisdom in that of focusing on the Lord is not meant to take you out of the fun of dating or being excited about a crush, but it is meant to keep it in pace, to not sabotage the thing you're excited about.
Yeah.
You can so easily ruin a fun dynamic with a guy if you are putting all of your hope of your future on a dude who maybe hasn't gotten there yet.
I was invited to speak at a youth meeting for Martoma Church, which is a denomination from India. And I didn't know, I thought youth meant like high school kids. I didn't know youth meant not married. So they were all like young professionals in their 20s and 30s. Awesome group of people. And we were sitting around talking at one of the lunches, and they were talking about how involved their parents are in their marriages. And the way they were talking about it, I'm like, are you talking about arrange, like your parents arrange your marriage? And they were like, not like arrange, like, hey, meet your wife. But they're like, but they're intimately involved in the process. I'm like, okay. And I just remember like the whole table of them were like, why would you not? Here you have a person with wisdom who cares about you more than anyone on the planet, trying to help you make sure you make a good choice. And I was like, oh, well, when you say it that way, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And so I'm not advocating all of you have your parents, and your parents should be in the process somewhere if you have a healthy parent. But I think, to your point, God loves you and is wise. So it's not like, hey, take those feelings and put them, you throw those feelings away right now. Those are not welcome in this house. No, you're not throwing your feelings out. You're inviting God in.
Yeah.
You're saying, I'm feeling this way. Let me not hide these feelings from the one who loves me and is wise. Let me say like, I'm feeling these. He's like, right. And let him help me with those.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a test of, do you trust God's heart, his character?
Yeah.
He delights in marriage. It was his idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel like maybe our phones make it hard to work out this dynamic where if you're excited about someone and you go on a couple dates, then you just want to send them a meme the second you get home from your date, or text them Monday morning at 8 a.m. You know, it's like you have a means to putting all of this energy back into the relationship versus, hey, let me pause on this, wait until the next date. I feel like phones have made it a lot harder, especially for me. I'm just like, if I'm into it, then I'm like, let's talk now. How are you doing? What's up? How's your life? And it makes it a little bit more challenging to like take back that energy and not let feelings be in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, and I don't think a lot of that's an indicator.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, Song of Solomon, I love it. She's infatuated and excited and not shamed. And that's one of the things, you know, that this is a good thing.
Yeah.
All the images are springtime. You're like life blossoming. So for Don and I don't talk for hours on the phone to anyone at any point. But when Don and I were dating, we would talk for hours on the phone.
Yeah.
Like that's a good sign that I'm not trying to find a way off. That's good.
That's good.
So
anyway. We've got an email question next. This person wrote, I'm doubting God still has someone for me. I was with a man and engaged for 11 years. I'm now single and turning 40. All of my hopes and dreams of being a wife and mom are fleeting. I grew up really believing God wanted me to be both. I'm so tired of trying to be strong through the hurt.
Oh, man. Yeah, that one's hard. Let me say a couple things. One, to address your experience with everybody at some level and then speak to you specifically. But what is a flag to me in this is engaged for 11 years. That to me is a signal of a huge problem. And again, I don't know all the specifics of your story, but I encourage people to be engaged for 4 to 6 months, maybe a year tops. I don't know all the experiences that may have led to an extended engagement for someone, but 11 years to me is a symbol that something's wrong. And to me, that's a problem with modern dating. The way a lot of people conceive of it is modern dating is like a pseudo marriage. And again, I don't know your specifics, but it's let's move in together. Let's sort of share an apartment. Let's share a bed. Let's sort of act like we're a married couple and yet hold back the covenant piece that says, I promise to love you. The part that we all desperately want. We want someone to say, I choose you. I choose you for better, for worse, for richer or poor, till death do us part. But when someone says, let me just be around you, but not marry you, what you're saying is, I might choose you. I might want you. We'll see. And to make you linger in that space, that I now become dependent on you, like my life is intertwined with you, but all you're giving me is a solid maybe. I never get the comfort of commitment. I think that's cruel.
Yeah.
Because no matter how long you've been together, this thing could still dissolve in an afternoon. To me, it's a way of using people. And it's not a good way to treat people, but it's increasingly common in modern dating today. It's why you see people are having these long dating relationships and then break up and then long dating. And you see these, it's called serial monogamy. And if you read research like Mark Regnerus's and stuff, he says, when you talk to a lot of young people about marriage, it's just a lot of strong commitment, deep pain, wasted time. And that's why I advocate dating that is, there's so much reserve sexually because we're evaluating, do we want to be together? And that evaluation process should take as long as it has to, but go as fast as you can. Fast as you can, slow as you must. It shouldn't last 11 years. You shouldn't linger in 11 years.
Yeah.
Now, let me talk to you who wrote this, because you have, and this happened to you. What now? You're asking about, is there hope? Let me say this. Are you too far gone? No. Abraham in Genesis had a child in his 70s. Isaac got married in his 40s. I have friends who got married in their 40s. Now, motherhood may look different. You may be like a friend of mine who married a widower who had kids. So they weren't her biological kids, but she explodes with joy and deep emotion when she talks about how much she loves these children and how they love her back. You may marry and adopt. It may look different than what you thought, but you are not too far gone. The grace of God's too good for that.
Yeah.
So I would say I'm tired of being strong. I would say, you don't have to be. Let Hannah be your model in 1 Samuel. She wanted to be a mom and God didn't let her for a really long time. And so she went and wept at the altar, so much that the priest thought she was drunk. And she's a righteous woman that Mary, the mother of Jesus, models her life after. So you don't have to armor up to face the world. You fall into the arms of God. That's what you're meant to do. And then you're meant to rise up like Ruth. I mean, Ruth married a loser, died young. Read the book of Ruth. It's devastated. Her mother-in-law changes her name. Call my name ruined. I mean, it's just, it starts so bad.
Yeah.
But what does Ruth do? I'm just going to rise up and do the next right thing and trust the Lord. And God took care of her. Right? Now, I will say in that, I would encourage you to get some counseling as well, to try to unearth, why did you stay with that guy for a decade who wouldn't marry you? Because there's something there and you want to heal that up, But I would close this one with this. Lamentations is really depressing. I mean, it's a book in the Old Testament after the nation of Israel persisted in rebellion against God. God promised he'd send judgment. He did. So much beauty. I mean, the book is just gut-wrenching in how sad it is, talking about how much is lost. It's a lament. But then in Lamentations 3, he says, remember my affliction and my wanderings, the wormwood and the gall. My soul continually remembers it and is bowed down within me. So he's telling you, like, don't hide from how sad it is. You don't have to pretend you're not. But this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercy never comes to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in him. And the Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the soul who seeks him. So even when you're in the dust of Lamentations, there's something you can call to mind and have hope. The love of God never ceases. It's there every morning, and he is the portion for your soul. You may have wanted this other portion, didn't get it, but he says, but you have me, and that's cause for hope. Do not lose hope, because the grace of God is too good for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. All right.
That's a sad one. Yeah.
Moving on. This is an email we got. How does a married couple with kids, so a bit of a turn from what we've been on. How does a married couple with kids keep their relationship with their significant other as present and important as the relationship they have with their children? For example, my husband and I have been married for almost 5 years. We have 2 kids, both under 3. We find that we are both constantly putting our kids before each other and have now neglected our relationship as a marriage. Now we don't want to put our kids last, but we do want to figure out a way to keep our relationship alive and growing as a marriage and not just parents. I've noticed that being away from family has also made it has made it slightly harder. My husband being active duty in the Navy has not exactly helped. But prior to having kids, we always seem to have made it work. But with 2 kids now, it hasn't been easy. So ultimately, how can we nurture our marriage and keep it growing while still being attentive parents?
Hey man, the kid thing is tough.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't beat yourself up about that. You know, like when you go from single to married, your amount of free time shrinks considerably. When you add a kid, it shrinks way more. And 2 kids, I mean, there's just the thinnest of margins of free time for you to do what you want. And ages 3 and 4, that is the perfect age where a child is mobile enough to be dangerous. I mean, that is the age where they're like, what's the scariest thing I can touch to kill myself? And so what happens as a parent is you have to be relentlessly engaged with keeping this little human alive who doesn't understand that they are constantly putting their life in jeopardy. It's an exhausting experience.
Yeah.
It's a form of torture. And so I just think as wonderful as kids are, this is a challenging time. So you're not broken. It is hard. For them to flourish in life, they are literally siphoning life from you. So it's challenging. But you are not without hope. It just may have to look different. I think this is sometimes where we mess people up with like marriage conferences and we say, you have to have a date night, get a babysitter, you go out to a restaurant, you sit at that restaurant. For Donna and I, when our kids were this age, we're like, and fall asleep at that restaurant, like, oh my God, we're so tired. You know, so it may look like a date night and you should fight for that. But we realized, hey, sometimes it looks like an hour on the back porch. And that's our date night. We ordered food and we sat out back. So we're not in the room with all the rumpus craziness. We've separated. But I would say that I would not put it's kids versus spouse. You just go, we've entered a season where this has got harder and we may not look like the ideal. We may not be vacationing to Hawaii, just the 2 of us just yet. But the drift of life is towards isolation and you have an enemy invested in that. So you have to actively make war against that. And I would just say you prioritize it. If you both make it a value, you'll find it. As inconvenient and difficult as it is, have grace with how imperfect it is, you know, laugh about how, okay, we're just going to, you know, order something and sit on the back steps, but you'll cherish those memories, but just fight for it.
Yeah.
And then I would say communicate it to the kids because they will become cheerleaders of it because the safest, most stabilizing, most comforting feeling to a child is my parents love each other. If they see that love, you're being invited into it. It's not a threat to them. I mean, this is the gospel for us. God is love. What does that mean? Father, Son, and Spirit perfectly enjoying each other and we're invited into that. They're not a threat to us, and we're not a threat to them. And so for you, it just let your kids see, look at this vibrant love between my parents, and I'm invited into that. That's neat.
Yeah.
So we would just tell our kids that, hey, mom and dad are going on date nights, not because we want to be away from you. We love you, but it's because we want to spend time together because God gave us this marriage and we love each other. So as you're teaching them that, you're showing them the orbit they live in, the Garden of Eden God's planted them in. And I think if you can teach them that, they won't resent it. They'll actually cheerlead it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Got another email question in.
Okay.
I am personally in the engaged state of my relationship. I love how they put that. They are engaged. But I am struggling a bit with doubt and fear of the future, especially when conflict inevitably comes up at times. My question is, are couples who are following Christ and moving toward marriage with a biblical focus more susceptible to spiritual warfare and attacks from the enemy, especially in the engaged stage? I've always been told that Satan doesn't break into empty houses. So when two people have the Holy Spirit in them and begin to move towards God and honoring God in their marriage, it is a prime target for the enemy to try and destroy it. What are your thoughts on this? And what encouragement do you have for overcoming this if it is in fact spiritual warfare?
I mean, it might be. I don't know. I mean, we certainly have an enemy who hates us. You know, the Bible's pretty clear on that. If marriage is a picture of Jesus' love for the church, then yes, he would love to mar the picture, you know? And so he would love to complicate your marriage. But when you're trying to parse out, okay, we're experiencing some challenges, is it the devil, the flesh, or the world? You know, Ephesians 2 would say, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all that. So, and at some point, whether it's direct temptation from the enemy or it's your broken flesh, the little selfish rebel inside of you, or whether it's bad cultural influences around you, unhealthy ways of relating you learned from your parents, whatever it is, your activity is the same, you know, in terms of like, okay, well, you know, I mean, I don't know. If your girl is possessed by a demon, if her head's spinning, you know, then maybe you should get some holy water, call a priest. But if you're saying, hey, we are having conflict, if you're entering engagement, it could be the world. It could just be engagement's very stressful.
Yeah.
Because you're merging your whole life. So there's that relational element of merging with your families. You are event planning, and most people aren't event planners, but you're event planning for an event with every human you know. And then you're trying to plan the life that comes after that. Where do we live? Where do whatever? And so all this stress comes in, and stress usually doesn't pull out the best in us. So it could just be engagement brings some stress and pressure. And it's not that your girl is given in to Satan or you have. It could just be, hey, this is a difficult season. Let's acknowledge that. You know, for Donna and I, when we were in engagement, I would just say, hey, we can't talk about it every night or I'm going to go crazy. So there are times we have to pull it out of the box. I'm not denying it.
Yeah.
Not procrastinating because I know we have decisions to make. Let's pull it out of the box, spread it out. Let's do it. But can we find one night a week where we don't talk about this? We go back to what it used to be like, where we talk about the things we love and just not about the to-do list because I'm about to lose my mind. You know, so we had to do that. Some of it is, as you're getting closer to marriage, it may not be the world. It may be your flesh. You may just realize, oh, I'm more selfish than I thought. I was usually thinking of marriage in terms of the benefits for me. Turns out I don't understand the way her mind works. I don't understand her emotional response to that was surprising to me. Oh, maybe I don't know how to navigate the feelings of a woman. Yeah, you have to learn, but where else were you going to learn it? Here's your shot. So it may just be y'all learning how to communicate well. And you got to slow down and listen more than you talk and try to figure out, we're learning how to dance together. You know, or maybe the devil. So you just pray a lot. Pray a lot, get good counsel around you, give yourself grace and time, listen more than you speak as you process through, apologize often, and take breaks from the stress.
Yeah. I have seen, and I'm curious your thoughts on this as someone who is also in the engaged state of their relationship, as far as grace. But I've just observed when engaged couples connect with each other at church and can just get really candid and honest about the things that are hard, you kind of watch them all drop their shoulders a little bit of just, oh, okay, everyone is navigating different stress of families and opinions. And,
It's crazy.
It's an expensive season. It's a lot of decisions at once. If nothing else, I could see the enemy using that as a way to make you feel isolated and that everyone else is having a great time being engaged and something's wrong with you because it's hard or it's different.
Yeah. It's a crazy season.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm in it. And we've had more conflict in our relationship than ever. But it makes sense. I'm not marrying a clone of myself. So when we talk about where do I want to live in the city, her opinions aren't going to match my opinions. How many kids do you want to have? All of our opinions or thoughts or desires or dreams are not matching in every single scenario. So we do have to work through those things.
Yeah.
But I think seeing conflict not as something that's between us, but that we can, approach together, that mindset has helped us massively of like, okay, planning a wedding, this isn't something that needs to get in-laws, where we're going to live, how we want to plan a family. This doesn't need to be something that divides us. Let's just work together and approach it together. That's just been helpful.
Well, and such a huge percentage of married life is problem solving. And you go, are we a good problem solving team? And that's where I tell engaged couples that all the time because they'll come up and go like, we're having a fight about X, Y, or Z. And I'm like, it almost doesn't matter what your fight's about. What matters right now is how the two of you fight. Whatever the issue is, I want to pick plates and he doesn't care. Or I want my parents to sit here. Or I want a honeymoon at the beach and he wants the mountains. So you go, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. How do you approach it? Are you just trying to win? Are you trying to dominate like an arm wrestling? Like I'm going to make her like, hey, good luck with that. That's probably not going to go real well. Are you going to try to shame them, freeze them out, or blast off and angry at them? Or can you stop and go, okay, you know what? Doesn't sound like we're together. I had a friend who would always make a joke out. He's like, if we were synchronized swimmers, we would have gotten a 2. We just bonked heads. And so he would make his wife laugh like, he's like, okay, we're out of sync.
Yeah.
But you go first. Tell me everything that's going on in your heart about this. Like, what's the deal with this? Like Donna and I remember like when it was choosing plates, I was like, I could not possibly care less. And she got real mad about it. And I was like, I don't care. I've never cared about plates. I still don't. I don't care. And she'd get upset and I'm like, I'm not going to care. It's never going to happen. And it just took a while for me to go like, I'm saying I don't care about what I eat on. She's thinking I'm trying to invest in our life and you're indifferent. And I'm like, okay. It makes sense for you to put that emotional weight into this experience.
Yeah.
It also makes sense for me to not give a crap about plates. However, it's good for me to know there's a logic to what you're saying. And you know what? I'm not good at picking these out. I don't have a preference, but I want you to feel I'm with you and we are building a life together and I'm invested in our future together. So I want to conduct myself in a way that makes you feel that way.
Yeah.
So let's try again. That's better than going like, I don't care about plates and your mother, you're like, hey man. So it's a lot about learning how to conflict.
I won't take you far.
Yeah. Yeah. And conversations that when we were engaged took 4 hours, now take 4 minutes.
Oh.
Because we just built those muscles. But they're going to take a long time right now.
Yeah. The grass is greener. Hey, we got 2 questions left. This next one is a voicemail.
Hey, Ben, I am a college minister, but I just got a question for you as you worked with a lot of college students. My college leaders and people who are in the ministry, they're having a hard time getting some of our students to even recognize that they are dating somebody that's not a Christian, and that is not necessarily the most ideal thing to do. I'm trying to encourage my leaders to navigate the conversation well with their people that they're meeting up with. So if you have any advice that you can throw out at something like that, I would love to hear it. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah. I'd say a couple things, and these are kind of scattershot. For me, I remember when I was in high school, a guy wanting to give me a a sermon series on Song of Solomon. And I was like, I'm going to listen to sermons in my car. Like, I can't stand listening to sermons at a church. Like, I don't want to listen to them in my car. And this guy like made me take them. And I refused to listen to him, threw him in my car. And then I fell asleep driving and almost killed myself and was like, uh-oh, I'd better do something to keep myself awake while driving. And I opened up this little talk cassette tape deal he gave me. And there was a talk there entitled Sex. And I was like, that ought to do it. And so I put it in, and this guy was not telling you all the reasons to not do it or all the reasons it's a sin.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Song of Solomon. And he was talking about the beauty of what marriage could be. And I was, I had to pull the car over weeping because he was just holding up the beauty of what marriage was supposed to be. And I just remember thinking, that is so tied to the deepest longings in my heart and so far from what I was thinking marriage was. And I found this preacher was able to make me long for God's ideal because we're made for that. So I've taught Song of Solomon trying to recreate that experience for other people. Tommy Nelson is the one I listen to. Other people have done it. But I would say if you can present them ideal, a lot of people, it's the longing for that. It touches down on the deepest longings of the human heart. That they do want a marriage. Everyone wants a community and a cause. They want to be deeply loved and they want a life that's worth living and worth dying for. And in marriage, we get all that in a godly marriage. I also think you can warn them against the dangers of by asking them good questions, in their life. Like, what do you think matters most in your life? Like, what are you hoping for? Because you may discern, oh, this kid doesn't care about a Christian marriage because he's not a Christian. Like his desires have nothing to do with God. His interests have nothing to do with God. Mm-hmm. The love of Jesus has not touched the heartstrings of his affections. And so you got to start, don't hold him to a Christian standard if he's not a Christian. So you just want to ask them, like, what is your ultimate cause in life? What's a win for you? What are you longing for? What do you, do they even believe all things are made by him and for him? That I want the love of God is the supreme desire of my soul. If they want that, then you say you want someone laying in that bed next to you with whom you can talk deeply about the deepest things in life. You do. You don't want to settle for they acquiesce to the existence of a deity. I mean, you want someone that you go, we can commune on the deepest things in life. Jesus used the illustration of building a house. What are you building it on? Like, and I think of like when Don and I were looking at houses, you'd walk in somewhere like, ooh, I like this vibe. Oh, that's cool. Oh, mid-century, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But if it's built on sand, we weren't looking at foundations. We weren't like, well, talk to me about the foundation. We weren't. But if we would have said, oh, this house is pretty, I love it. And then suddenly, you don't suddenly see the foundation. You see cracks in the ceiling and you go, uh-oh, this thing's shifting. Yeah. Shifts in the atmosphere are causing this beautiful thing to break down and become unsafe. Mm. Whereas with our house, I mean, foundations aren't sexy. No one's got a coffee table book filled with foundations. Oh, let's look at concrete slabs. It's not fun to look at. But our house, we were like, let's make sure the foundation's solid because then our house can endure. And Jesus is like, if you're not building your life on my word, then when the storms of life come, your house will be ruined. And so if someone's like, yeah, but she's cute, she's hot, oh, he's funny, he's charming, you go, great. But if his life's not being built on the word of God, then when trouble comes, and it will, you will be among those high statistics of people whose marriage crumbles when life gets hard. Mm-hmm. And you don't want that. I've cried with too many people under that. Life is too hard. Pressure, strain, escape, divorce. It's going to happen. But if you have someone whose house is built on the enduring word of God, a holy person, then when life's hard, they're not going to leave you. They're going to stay. When y'all are miscommunicating, they're going to fight for unity. Mm-hmm. You want the comfort that comes in the character of somebody else because it's built on the enduring word of God. So that's what I would encourage them is hold up the ideal and then show them the dangers and say, you don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's good.
It is.
It's funny. He wrote this as a college minister to college students, but even just in the context of our church and some college students, but a lot of young adults. And
Yeah.
I know someone on our staff got an email asking to meet about some dating questions. And in his mind, he pictured college students, and he went to meet with them, and they were like in their 40s. He was like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's truth that hits at any age.
Mhm.
What is the danger of myself, a Christian, marrying a non-Christian? Like, what is the danger that I'm stepping into 5 years, 10 years?
Well, there's a myriad of them.
Mhm.
The first one is cause. What are you chasing in life? Because
Yeah.
whatever you think is most valuable in life, you will value, and it will shape your values.
Right.
And your values shape your decisions, your choices, and your choices build a life, right? So what does someone think is ultimately valuable will determine what they chase, you know?
Mhm.
And so if you say, I want to honor the Lord, that's going to change your decisions. It's going to change where you hang out, which will change who your friends are, where you spend time.
Right.
If they're like, I actually just value making money or being a success in my career, I don't care about this,
Mhm.
you're going to have a different friendship set, and you're going to have a different way to mitigate stress. But what's going to happen in your life is now you're going two different directions, but you're tethered together. And so you're either trying to drag them to church, and no one likes being dragged,
Yeah.
or they're going to drag you away from it, and you're going to lose what you've said is the core of your identity.
Mhm.
And so that's just a bad choice
Right.
to say, let me put myself in that situation. You want someone that you say, we are running after the same goals in life.
Yeah.
You know, when people get divorced, what do they say? Our lives went different directions.
Mhm.
What do they mean by that? They're not talking about career choice. They're not saying, well, I was a librarian and she was a consultant. No, you're talking about big, ultimate
Right.
decisions of what we think really matters in life. That's what you're talking about, right? And so that's why that cause piece is so important. And then the character piece is, do they have a godly shaped character? Do they have a fear of the Lord? You know, you may get to a point in your marriage where there's enough pain, there's enough suffering that you go, you know what? I don't know. And then the enemy will put some cute person who's interested in you in your office. And if you're a believer that really fears the Lord, you go, my wife and I may be fighting, but I am going to honor my marriage because I fear the Lord. And I believe that what my wife and I are in are not a cave of endless darkness. We're in a tunnel and we'll emerge into the light.
Mhm.
But what you'll see with other people is go, you know what? We've just lost the spark. It's just not good anymore. But this person wants me. I'm jumping ship,
Yeah.
you know? And that story plays out many, many times. So you want somebody who, like Jesus said, his steadfast love, love is as strong as the grave. It will not let go.
Right.
That's what you want. You want a love like that.
That's good.
That you go, I don't have to worry about where you are. When you're on a work trip, I don't have to worry about what you're up to
Yeah.
because you have a God-shaped character, and I've seen it.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
I don't get nervous about how Donna's raising our kids or handling our money because she fears the Lord,
Yeah.
you know, and you want the comfort of someone else's character.
Yeah.
That's good.
You ready for our last question?
Oh, yeah. I thought that was it. But yeah, let's do one more. Sure.
We got one more on the docket if you got it
Yay.
in
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
This is the last question. A guy emailed in. It says, my fiance and I are about 6 months out from our marriage, and I'm trying to learn more and more about what it looks like to lead her in our relationship, especially in marriage. I've got a good set of men and role models in my life that I watch and take notes from, but do you have any practical advice to add or scripture to look at?
Of course. What a wonderful question to end on. I would say it's wonderful that you have godly men surrounding you that you can model general principles after is amazing. I think the next step after that for you, how do I lead my wife? You look at her. You be a student of that woman. And specifically what you're looking for is what helps her flourish under God. Not what are all her whims, but what environment helps her flourish under God? And let me do all I can to encourage that environment, right? That was the mandate for Adam in the garden. Cultivate the garden and keep it, right? Keep is protect from harmful elements. Cultivate is create an environment where that under your influence can reach its full potential. That's what a man does. That's what Jesus does for his church, right? He creates an environment where we're meant to be under God. That's what a man does for a wife. So read Ephesians 5. That's the picture of how Christ loves his church. That's how you love her. Initiate and sacrifice so she can flourish under God. That's what Jesus did. He loved when we didn't love him. He sacrificed down to his last drop of blood so we could be who we're meant to be under God. So you go first and initiate in caring for that woman, and you sacrifice your own benefits, finances, time, so she can flourish under God. That's what you do. And then 1 Corinthians 7, Paul says, a married man is anxious about how to please his wife. But the single person is anxious how to please the Lord. He's kind of extolling the benefits of singleness. You get to be single-minded. You just get to chase the Lord. You don't have to worry about this other person. But he's not saying it's wrong to care about pleasing your wife. He's just like, when you're married, you're thinking about how to please her. That word please comes from the words, Greek word to fit together. What fits with this person? So just be a student of her and watch her very carefully. What makes her come alive, right? Do notes make her day? Get good at note writing. I've told the story many times of, for Donna and I, when we first got married, I thought men had to assemble all the furniture. She would always kind of come over and start taking things out of my hands. I got deeply offended. Like, how dare you emasculate me by not letting me put together this desk from IKEA that I hate?
Give me that hammer.
And then I realized it was IKEA, so those little like rinses. And then I realized, she likes crafts. I hate them. And it's not wrong for me to let her do. She actually wants to do it. And so, famously bought her lumber for one birthday. I went with her one time to Home Depot in College Station, and they all knew her by name. And I can't tell you, it was at least 5 guys that were like, "Oh, you're Donna's husband." I'm like, "I am." And you know what? I hunt. Okay. I can stalk and kill and process an animal. I can lift weights. I don't need to do what you do. No, I don't know which one's a 4x6, and I don't care. So anyway, the point is, you just become a student of your wife and go, what helps her come alive under God? Do that.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
And so but that's the joy of engagement, is you're learning this other person. So create space to talk a lot.
Yeah.
To be a student of her.
Yeah.
And you don't have to know all women, but that's your girl. And so you create an environment the best you can with the influence you have to help her flourish under God. You're going to win.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh.
That's great. It makes me think I was meeting with an old pastor of mine weekly this past fall. And I asked him, it was our final meeting, and I was like, "Man, you're smart. You're a great preacher. You're in your 40s. Theologically, you're incredible." And I was like, "What do you wish you knew more of in your 20s? Like, what do you wish you read more books about?" And he thought about it for a second. He's like, "My wife. I wish I knew more about her. I wish I studied her more." And that was beautiful.
Yeah.
And he was like, that took precedent over all of his career, his work, his preaching, his study. Let me be a student of her. So I love that you bring that up.
Yeah, man.
Doesn't Peter write about that? Husbands be understanding.
Yeah,
of your
live with
wife?
her in an understanding way. Yeah.
Pretty.
As the weaker vessel, which weaker is it's not a criticism.
Yeah.
He's saying there's a delicacy to wiring. And this is, people can debate that today, but you go physically, by and large, women are physically not as large as men. Men are stronger, typically physically. And he's saying you need to be sensitive to the fact that she's a more delicate instrument. I tell people I don't use my iPad to dig a trench. That doesn't make my shovel more important than an iPad.
Right.
It just means you got it. So he's telling her, hey, you may be less sensitive emotionally. You may be more able to endure some elements physically. Don't demean your wife because she's not built like you. Appreciate the way she's different from you.
That's good.
And if you don't value her, God will take issue with you. That's what Peter says. So he's elevating the status of women in that culture, not denigrating them. But yeah, I think once you embrace that, I don't have to know all women. I got to know this one.
Yeah.
Then it's fun. Then you go, I can do that. Oh, that's what these dates are for.
Yeah.
And you ask questions and you learn, and that's fun.
That's great.
I feel like we see that in really every example of leadership. It's so much easier to fall under the leadership of someone that has demonstrated they care about you.
Yeah.
It gets way harder when you doubt that.
Yes.
And yeah, it's it sounds really simple and basic, but that type of leadership is not scary or intimidating.
Yeah.
That's a comforting thought.
It's freedom.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, the next one will be fun. We're going to bring some engaged couples in here.
Yeah, we are.
Talk
It's gonna
about
be fun.
engagement and how did
You're
you
one
get
of
there?
them.
That's really it. It's not just what engagement is like. Because if you're like, well, I'm not engaged, I'm not going to listen. We're going to ask them, how did they get there? Because that's what a lot of
Yeah.
people want to know.
Yeah.
And Thomas will be one of them. So we'll see you next time, buddy.
See ya.